Hello everyone, I am Joyce F. Patatag, and today in my report I will be discussing about consumption and savings. Actually, I am the first reporter of Group 2 and I was assigned to discuss about consumption and savings and kauban ako nga mo-discuss ang nga topic is si Florence but man na siya discuss a report. Um, I was unable to report during our reporting day because I've been hospitalized for appendicitis surgery and I am going to have a difficult time for a few weeks. But now I can report na and ayun, I hope you understand guys. Again, I will be discussing about consumption and savings. Income in microeconomics is more than the income received by employees in the form of salaries or wages. So, ang kita daw sa microeconomics is labaw pa sa kita nga nadawat sa mga empleyado in the form of salaries or wages. Income in microeconomics pertains to economic income which is earned through economic activities undertaken by the household sector or business sector. This means ang kita daw sa microeconomics may kalabutan sa kita sa economy nga nakuha pinaagi sa mga kalihukan sa ekonomiya nga gihimo sa sektor sa panimalay o sektor sa negosyo. Thus, it can be national income as measured by the total production of the economy in terms of GDP or personal economic income, which businesses pay to households in exchange for the use of their labor resource. To emphasize the essential features of income determination, the household sector is the only factor contributor and therefore the receiver of income and the only leakage in the circular flow is personal saving. So it means ang sector sa panimala is the only factor contributor and therefore um the only leakage in the circular flow is personal savings. In other words, there is no leakage from the firms or businesses. What is leakage, DI? Leakage refers to capital or income that diverges from some kind of iterative system. Leakage is usually used in relation to particular depiction of the flow of income within a system and referred to as the circular flow of income and expenditure in the Keynesian model of economics. Okay, next we have consumption. What is consumption? Consumption means the expenditure made by the households on goods and services. Certain consumers' durable products, pareha sa washing machines, are consumed over a longer period of time, while other products like kanang cakes are consumed immediately after purchase. Take note, however, that when we talk about consumption here, it does not include the purchases of new houses by households. Nevertheless, kinahanglan usab natong hinumduman nga ang pagkonsumo is not the monopoly of household kung considerar nga ang mga negosyo ug sektor sa gobyerno usab nagkonsumo sa goods and services. This report focuses solely on household consumption. We concentrate on current consumption of things like food and home equipment like washing machines and toaster ovens. In contrast, expenditures on capital goods such as homes function as long-term consumption prepayments. Next, we have consumption function. So, what is consumption function? Consumption function in microeconomics is the relationship between desired consumption expenditure and the factors that determine it, like national income. Consumption and income. Sama sa atong naobserbahan, personal or household consumption is the main determinant or national or factor income. So, ang personal o pagkonsumo sa panimalay mao ang unang determinant sa national or factor income o factor nga kita. The consumption expenditure is in fact the proportion of national income or disposable income spent by households on final goods and services and is the largest component of aggregate demand and spending and the circular flow of national income. Moreover, it is one of the most stable components of aggregate demand, showing little fluctuations from period to period. Thus, kung um atong hunahunahon nga ang kita pareha sa konsumo, or if we assume that income is equal to consumption, the inflow that generates the income constitutes borrowings from the economy's stock of saving. Next, we have initial consumption expenditure, which is used in purchasing consumption, goods, and services, is also the initial factor income that the circular flow of national income generates as it totally flows back to the households in exchange for the use their factor resources. Assuming that the household are the economy's only factor contributors and no circular flow leakage happens on the side of the business sector. Again, atong hunahunaon nga um, ang mga panimalay are the only economy's factor contributors ug walay circular flow leakage nga mahitabo on the side of the business sector. Consequently, households spend part of their income for subsequent consumption and save a portion. As a result, the only leakage from the circular flow is personal saving. These future consumption expenditures, on the other hand, produce production income, which is returned to the household as further factor income. In consequence, the increased expenditure that the household undertake is equal to the subsequent income generated by the circular flow. The circular flow will continue to generate revenue as households spend the majority of their money on products and services, while firms produce and pay households for their factor contributions. The process of income generation is completed when the inflow has been fully siphoned from the circular flow in the form of personal savings and nothing is left to further generate income. Next, we talk about the multiplier concept. So, what is multiplier concept? It is the process of generating income through the circular flow exchange between the household and the firms is called multiplier. The multiplier is the ratio of an induced change in the equilibrium level of national income to an initial change in the level of spending. Or in general, ang multiplier mao ang ratio of an induced change in the equilibrium level of national income ngadto sa usa ka initial change sa level sa paggasto. The multiplier effect denotes the phenomenon whereby some initial increase or decrease in the rate of spending will bring about a more than proportionate increase or decrease in national income. In other words, multiplier coefficient measures the average number of times every peso of income circulates and changes hands and the circular flow in the form of income. It also measures the income generated from every peso of inflow, which is when multiplied to the total inflow yields aggregate income. It also measures the income or kita nga makuha gikan sa matag peso of inflow nga kung i-multiply sa total inflow makahatag og aggregate nga kita. There are two important features of the multiplier. A. It is the cumulative process rather than instantaneous effect, and it is viewed in terms of a series of successive rounds of additions to income. Or it is best regarded as a series of subsequent rounds of income additions because it is a cumulative process rather than an instantaneous effect. And B, the value of the multiplier depends on the fraction of extra income that is spent on consumption or called marginal propensity to consume or MPC at each successive round. Or the multiplier's value is determined by the percentage of extra income spent on consumption or known as marginal propensity to spend or MPC in each cycle. The multiplier coefficient depends on the fraction of every additional income generated in the exchange that flows out the circular flow as saving. This outflow determines the portion left for consumption and recirculation to further generate income. I believe that's the end of my report. Thank you guys for listening.